Hey guys, it's Jill Powell. I'm going to show you today how to create perfect skin that looks just like skin. Okay, so I went ahead and prepped the skin off camera. We just did a little bit of eye cream and moisturizer. Like I always like to do, you wanna make sure that the skin is nice and hydrated. If you have any excess moisture, you can use a blot film to remove any excess moisturizer or excess moisture on the skin, just to make sure that the foundation really adheres. So I'm gonna go into foundation. And if you've followed me for a while, you know I never use one foundation. I always use multiple. I like to create dimension on the skin with foundations. So I chose two colors. These are Too Faced Born This Way foundation. I love this one because it just gives like a skin-like finish, and nobody wants to look heavy or cakey. And this really gives that. You get a medium coverage and it just looks like skin. So there's so many different tools you can use for foundation. Today I just decided to try a flat foundation brush. This one is the MAC 190, kind of my old school foundation brush. As you notice, I didn't use a primer on her today. Some days I do, some days I don't. Desiree has really beautiful skin. She doesn't have a lot of texture. She doesn't have any visible pores. So I decided to skip the primer today. Do you usually do a primer?
Oh, yes.
All the time?
Yes.
What's your favorite primer?
It varies depending on the makeup I use, but typically like MAC or Urban Decay.
And do you use a primer just to make sure it stays on really well throughout the day?
Yeah, and I feel like I have large pores.
Really? You are crazy. Where do you think you have pores?
Right by my nose area.
Oh my goodness. Well, I don't see any pores. She sees them. So then definitely if you have any pores or any texture issues, you want to use something that does kind of fill in and smooth out the skin texture. I didn't see any, so I chose to skip it. We'll see what you think today.
Okay. That makes me very happy right now.
So this color is Ivory, and it's actually a perfect match to her skin. I have a deeper tone, which is, I think Natural Beige. Yep, I was right. So Natural Beige is the deeper tone that I'm gonna use to contour. So for her exact skin tone, you'll see I go on the perimeter of the face. Do you ever use two foundations? Yeah. Nice. Do you use two different colors or just two different textures?
Two different colors.
Awesome. So she already knows all my tricks. Nothing new to see. All right. So then again, perimeter of the face. And the reason why you want to match the skin tone on this bottom cheek area is because you do not want your line of demarcation on your chin. You do not want to have that mask. So you need this color to really flow down into the neck. And if it's too dark, then you really look like you're wearing a mask. So as you can see, I'm just kind of swiping it on, a couple little pats to just press it into the skin and make sure it looks exactly like skin. I'm doing the same color on the center of the face. So you'll see I come slightly under the eyes, down the bridge of the nose, and right along the cheeks. I use these kind of sweeping motions, patting motions. You really want to work the foundation into the skin. What do you use to apply your foundations?
Just various
brush,
brushes,
fingers?
yeah. Sometimes I'll pat it around the eyes just to get it into the skin, but generally brushes.
Fingers are great depending on the texture of the foundation. If you have something that's like a little bit thicker, a little more viscous, sometimes the fingers work really well because then it won't be so heavy. Yeah. You seriously have flawless skin.
Oh, thank you.
I mean.
I got from my mama and my daddy.
You are one lucky girl.
Thank you.
All right, so you'll see I'm also doing the light color through the center of the forehead. Patting it on. I have a beauty blender and I'll take this and kind of press it into the skin, remove any excess that's too heavy. And I do sheer layers. So again, if you've seen any of my other videos, if you have followed me for a while, you know I love to do sheer layers. I find that It just looks a lot more natural. I don't like to put too much on and then have to take it off or have to set it and have it be really thick. So just really sheer layers, just like this. You'll notice I haven't done any foundation in the cheek area or the outside of the forehead. So I'm taking that natural beige color, kind of mixed with a little bit of the ivory. And we're gonna go on the outsides of the face, right along the cheekbones. And again, just a sweeping motion, using the Beauty Blender to press it on in. Do you use a Beauty Blender?
I don't.
Really?
I've always been very intimidated by it.
How come?
I never
don't know how to use it?
Don't know how to use it.
So if you've never used a Beauty Blender, you can, what's the texture? It's really like, you can tell it's damp, right?
Yeah.
So you always want to dampen it, and it actually like doubles in size when you dampen it. But as you can see, it looks like skin, so it has tiny little pores. And anytime you have a tool that mimics the skin, that's when you get the most skin-like texture. So I didn't think you had a lot of pores, which is why I chose a flat brush, because your skin's really smooth. So anytime you have smooth skin, a flat brush is great because it just smooths it right over. This will help to mimic the actual, like, you know, small little pores that you do have, and press it into them so that it gives just that beautiful natural skin finish.
Good to know.
So again, just along the forehead and right along the cheeks. And then any excess you really want to push up into the hairline. Again, you don't want any lines of demarcation to see where you've left off. I always like my makeup to look really natural. You don't want to ever look like you're trying too hard, so.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, well, you're a natural beauty, so you're easy. Some of us have to work a little harder.
So when you're picking out a beauty blender, you're looking for something that's more porous?
It depends, again, on your skin tone or on your skin texture. So I personally like Beauty Blender brand. I find that they're just a really good consistency. They don't absorb too much. They absorb just the right amount of product, and they last the longest. They don't get, you know, like they don't start peeling or chipping. So that's my favorite. Another thing, I always do skin first. I know I'm crazy. Nobody else does skin first. Y'all do eyes first, and I understand why you do it. I just have a different view on it, and I think that I have to have a perfect canvas in order to do everything else. I know there could be fallout, so if fallout is a problem for you, please do your eyes first. You do not have to follow my steps. These are just what I like to do personally. I have tricks to show you to help with fallout, but for me, I like my skin to be perfected so that I can do everything else. I find that it just really, it's my way of doing my order of operations, so. So I'm just going back and kind of pressing the last little bit of foundation where I feel needed into the skin, just to really create that beautiful, flawless complexion. And again, sheer layers, so I went over it once, and now I'm kind of going over it again with just another sheer layer. And if you haven't seen, sometimes I've posted or given some tips or tricks on my sheer layers, but my favorite analogy to use for it is that when you paint your nails, what do? You do sheer layers. If you do one huge long coat or one thick coat of nail polish and you wait 2 hours and you go to bed, you wake up with bedsheet nails. Why? Because it never dried underneath. So you do that sheer layer first, you let it set by itself, no powder, although you can do powder if you have a lot of texture. And then you do another sheer layer once that first one has set, and you press it in, and it's gonna create this amazing skin-like texture, not too much product, not too powdery, and it's just gonna look amazing. Okay, so now that foundation's done, we are going to move on to contour. Contour is always a question that so many people ask. How do I contour? How do I contour? How do I contour? Everybody's face shape is different, so you really want to pay attention to your own bone structure or your model's bone structure, your client's bone structure. So for Desiree, she has a beautiful face shape. I don't need to really chisel a whole lot. The one place that I think she may want me to chisel a little bit is her cheekbones. She has beautiful cheekbones, so I just want to enhance them. So if I were to feel her face, I can feel her cheekbone is right here, and right underneath it is where I'm going to create that contour. So it naturally goes in, and I can see it goes in right here and it comes right here. So this is the place that I'm going to want to contour. Same thing on the other side, okay? A lot of times it's center of the ear to the lip. Not always. Everybody's face is different. But if you don't know, that's a good place to start out. Center of the ear to the corner of the lip, okay? Boop, boop. There you go. Do you contour your face normally? Mm-hmm. Yeah? What do you use?
A contour, an angled brush around my nose, and then same thing with the cheekbones.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I use an angled brush as well. I prefer like an angled blush brush, anything where it's shorter and then longer. And the reason why is the shorter part will place and the longer part will blend. So I start in the ear and I pull it down towards the corner of the mouth, blending out as I go. This is my favorite contour palette. There's so many out there. This is NYX, and I seriously love it. Some people have their favorites. I've used so many. I've used cream contour, I've used powder contour, and I do change it up. But this is kind of my like tried and true, always in my kit. Absolutely love it. So shout out to NYX. You guys did a great job. My first favorite contour palette was the Smashbox contour palette. I swear they paved the road for contour palettes. It's 3 colors. It's absolutely amazing. So that's definitely another favorite of mine. So I get a little product. I always tap it off with I use my middle finger. Tap, tap, tap. And again, just take, so you can see, center of the ear to the corner of the mouth. The reason why I always start at the center of the ear is where you place the brush first is where the most product goes. So you do not want to have a big blob in the center and then have to try and blend that out. So never start in the center and then go up. Otherwise you'll have this like blob. Have you ever done that?
Yes.
And that is why. Mm-hmm. So with anything that you're doing, eyeshadow, blush, bronzer, always start where you want the most concentrated color. So I want the most concentrated color towards your hairline. And then you don't need a lot of contour. You've got beautiful cheekbones. Some people will contour along the chin. I do this a lot for people that need to have more of a prominent chin, or people that want to recede some of their chin, or just need a little bit more shape. I'm just using whatever's residual on my brush. Desiree has great bone structure, so she really doesn't need a lot. But in photos, this can really help out. And then when you take the residual here, you just want to go right under the chin and sweep it down. Continuity is huge with colors, so bringing as many of the colors throughout your look as possible to create some continuity, that'll make your look go together every single time. Okay, so you contour your nose as well. Mm-hmm. Do you like the way it looks in photos? It just creates that like,
yes.
Yeah, you've got a great nose. Like thanks. Some people maybe need to contour their nose because their nose shape is like, you know, not ideal for them. Everybody's nose is great. I don't contour my nose that much. I probably should. It gets bigger as I get older. Thanks, Mom. My mom seriously had this nose, and as a kid, I was like, I have the cutest little nose. And now I have my mom's nose. So thanks, Mom. I love you. And I probably should, but like mine's just long. So I really don't want to make it look longer. I guess I could contour the end of it a little bit. I don't know. You have pretty awesome nose. I like your nose. So I'm just going to take a large, fluffy blending brush. This is MAC 225. Hopefully they still sell it. It's kind of old school. I have a lot of old MAC brushes. They last forever. So I'm going to take this contour. So same color we did here, a neutral, not too much red in it, not too much gray in it. It's a perfect neutral. Starting pretty much right at her brow, and I am going to go straight down the side of the bridge of her nose. Basically like this. Very light touch. How light is my touch right now?
I feel like you're just barely stroking.
Am I like tickling you?
Yeah.
Right. So the reason why is I don't want it to be too strong where you look like you have stripes on your nose. For photos, it looks awesome. And in person, sometimes it doesn't look so awesome. So my makeup technique is always to make sure that you look amazing in person and amazing in photos. So that's one of the biggest things. If you ever see one of my clients walking around, everyone's going to be like, oh my gosh, you look amazing. Hopefully. That's my goal. So same thing, just tap a little bit, always tap off. Again, right at the brow, straight down. And as you can see on this side, it actually caught a little bit more right here and a little bit more right here. I can see it. Not sure if the camera can see it. So you want to make sure, probably had too much product on here. So we're just going to blend that out. Really light. Tickle, tickle, tickle. Sorry if that tickles you.
Feels good.
I'm going to add a little bit more where there wasn't too much product, and I may take my finger and tap off a little bit of the excess color. We can always fix it. That's what's great about makeup is it comes off. You can be anyone you want to be for the day, and then take it off at the end of the day. All right. Some people will do like a really heavy bridge of the nose contour. If you need it, great, do it. If you don't need it, don't do it. So I'm just going to add a little bit more right here. And it doesn't have to be perfect because we are going to go back over when we do concealer and do the center of the nose, and it's going to make that contour really, really pretty. So you have a really cute end of the nose, bowl on the end of the nose. So we're going to keep that. And I'm just going to blend this a little bit more. All right. She doesn't need any forehead contour. So she has pretty perfect forehead. It's not too big, it's not too small. The only place I may, just for continuity, is right up by the hairline, just to create dimension, but I don't want to make her forehead too much smaller. So again, this is where you customize your contour based on your client. So she has a baby, baby widow's peak, so we're just going to go right in that just slightly. Again, with the residual, whatever's left on my brush. She doesn't need chin. I think we're doing pretty good. So to make your contour stand out, some people will highlight underneath, some people will bake with powder. I don't bake. I don't even bake cookies. I don't bake my face. I don't bake my client's face. I'm sorry, I just don't do it. I didn't conform. But sometimes people need to bake. That's fine. You do you. I do me. So you can highlight underneath in this wonderful NYX palette that I love. You can take like a lighter color, and since she has more of that golden yellowy undertone, I'm going to take a color like this. Actually, more of like a flat, fluffy brush. So see how this is like flat and fluffy? So I'm going to take this and I will show you. Always tap off your brush. And just turn slightly for me. You can go right underneath and chisel that out and create that highlight that is nice and strong without it being too strong. It doesn't have to be that strong, guys. All you need is a little bit, a little bit. So there you go. Right underneath, there's my product. Press it right there, and we are just chiseling that out. Boom. Look at that contour. That's how you clean up any mistakes. That's how you make it stand out. As simple as that. Super easy. The other trick is you can take a deeper tone, so something like this. Now be careful, it's very deep for her skin tone. So 2 little taps, that's all I need. Tap it off, and you can start right at the ear and just kind of create one. That's it. That's all I did. One little tiny stroke right there. In photos, you'll be amazed. It creates this nice little contour that goes into this beautifully blended contour, and that's all you need. Not a lot. You don't need to pack it on. Doesn't need to happen. Okay, so we have foundation, we have contour. Instead of going into blush and highlight, I'm actually going to do concealers. So I chose multiple colors. I'm a multiple color kind of girl. Again, I also haven't done any concealer on her, so I don't know what's gonna look the best. One is more peachy, so if she had a lot of darkness under her eyes, the peach really brightens, it corrects. So peach is basically pink and or red and yellow and orange all combined with a little bit of white, I guess. That's how you make peach. So yellow actually is going to counteract any purple. The orange in it's going to counteract any blue. And, oh, the red or the pink is going to counteract any green. So what colors do we see under our eyes? Blues, purples, maybe a little bit of green or gray if you're using the wrong color concealer. That is why peach is awesome to brighten. If you ever see any color correctors, they are peach. Or depending on your skin tone, lighter pink to deeper orange. All right, we also have some yellows because you are yellow undertone, so I don't want it to be too peach. So these are the BECCA Ultimate Coverage Concealers. Fairly new, I'm a huge fan. They go on very creamy, very, very creamy, and they stay very well. So for those of you looking for something that isn't drying, that doesn't show wrinkles, us here in our late 20s. But it's okay. I know, I try to lie and say I'm in my late 20s. It worked for a while. When I don't have my kids with me, people think I am. And then I have my son who's like as tall as me, and then they're like, I don't know if you can pass for 28 anymore. Shh, I'm 28. All right. 3 colors. Light, medium, dark. Because I'm a mixer. Little concealer cocktail here. So I'm going to start actually with my peachier tone. This is old school brush. Old school Sephora brush. Something synthetic and flat is all you need. Go ahead and look up for me. So we're going to get right in this corner here. Boom, look at that. Look at that brighten. So she has a little bit of discoloration, tiny bit of purple tones, tiny bit of red tones, a little bit of blue in this corner. And it's just going to completely take that away. So a little bit of product's all you need. What am I going to say? Sheer layers. If we learn anything today, that's what you're going to learn. Sheer layers. So I still see a little bit right there. We're going to just press it on. And as you can see, I'm just using a very light touch right underneath her lashes. Press and pull, press and pull. We don't want to tug too much on the area under the eyes. It's a very delicate skin. You don't want to create wrinkles. You want to just brighten. And I'm taking my finger and pressing the product in. This will, again, mimic skin-like texture because I'm using skin on skin. I have a little fluffy over here. I'm going to get it off. Where did that come from? Make a wish. No, didn't fly away. So same thing on the other side. If you want to just turn this way until the light. Perfect. So get that inner corner right there. It's really important to brighten. And I'm just going to press under here. Press and pull. I like these little tiny brushes because you can really get under the lash line. It's not too big. And I'm getting right into her under eyes. What concealer? Do you use concealer every day?
Oh, yeah.
Which one do you use? What's your favorite?
I'm trying to think. I just got a new one. I've never used the BECCA concealer before, but I've used their foundation. I like how creamy it is.
It's funny that you say you just got a new one. Concealer is one of the things, I am always buying new ones. I'm trying to find the holy grail. In the past year, there's like 9 holy grail concealers. So thank you, brands, for coming out with everything I have wished my entire life. I've had to mix. Some are too creamy, some don't stay, some are too dry, some don't have enough coverage, some have the wrong colors. Now y'all got it. Everything has this wide color range. It stays, it's got a ton of pigment, it doesn't crease, it doesn't look cakey, it doesn't settle in our wrinkles. So thank you. Again, sheer layers. So I'm just going to put that on and let it be. We will do another layer later at the very end because I like to finish my look with concealer. So we're just doing this to, again, create this beautiful canvas. So I didn't even need the medium or the light. Sometimes you will if you have a lot of baggage under the eyes. If you have a lot of puffiness, you may need to bring some out and push some back. For you, the peach was perfect. So I'll let you know the color later. You can go to Sephora and buy it. So I don't need these, so bye. So we have our foundation, we have our contour, we have our concealer. I'm just gonna add a tiny bit of blush and highlight and then we'll complete our skin look. So I chose my trusty Z palette. I chose a kind of pink toned blush. For her, she has beautiful cheeks, so I'm just going to kind of lightly tap it and sweep it on the apples of her cheeks and sweep it upward just a little bit. And again, right here, I like the most color to be there. So remember when I said wherever you drop the brush off first is where the most color goes. That's where I want it to be the most concentrated, is right on her cheekbone. So I drop that off and then I sweep it. That way you don't have a big ball right here or a big ball up there. So we're just kind of giving beautiful color, like a flushed look to her cheekbones. And I'm sweeping it into the contour. You really don't want to see any loss of fluidity there. So just want it kind of to go all together. And you can see I blend quite a bit because I like it to just look like she has beautiful flushed cheeks. And then last but not least, we're just going to add a tiny bit of highlighter on the tops of the cheekbones. I always love a glow. I feel like it just makes you look really youthful and just really pretty. So So for her highlighter, I have chosen one of the Elcie highlighters. These are beautiful. There's so many different options. I just really like the texture of them. There's not many highlighters I don't love, but Elcie has definitely created a great one. This one has multiple tones in it, so it has gold, pink, peach, and then a lighter one. So you can really highlight different colors on your face depending on, you know, the tone that you need. I'm using kind of a small, fluffier brush, and I'm just sweeping it along the tops of her cheekbones. So you can see I'm placing it like right in here, and it's almost at the top of the blush, right under the eyes, and it's just creating, and I'm actually gonna do a tiny bit on the cheeks. Sometimes I like to pop those apples a little bit. A little bit here as well. And then, you know what I forgot with concealer? We did forget with concealer to go right through the center. So this is the same concealer brush I used for under her eyes. And I'm just gonna highlight and kind of create dimension on that nose contour that we did. And then we can take, I think for you right into this one, makes a little, and then we're gonna go straight down the nose. I don't like to be too strong with my nose highlights and contours. So just a tiny bit to make it pop. Some people like to go right on the end little bulb of your nose. You have a really cute one, so we'll highlight that a little bit more. Straight through the bridge. So a little bit on the Cupid's bow, again, taking that same kind of fluffier brush, just right on the, like the bridge of the lip. And this will create a really pretty backdrop when we do our lips. And there you go. Have a little bit of blush, a little bit of highlight, got all your skin. At the very end, you can set if you want. You don't have to use powder, but you can also just do a little bit of setting powder, at least through the center of the face. And if you need to, you can do it all over. I'm gonna wait just in case we have any fallout when we do the eyes. But if you're completing your skin look right here, go ahead and set with a translucent powder, just really, really light all over. And there you have it. Just for review, when I'm doing skin, we started with skincare, moisturizer, eye cream, kind of your basics, primer if you need it, if you need to fix texture, if you have any problems with your makeup lasting throughout the day. We went ahead and did foundation, and both of us used the 2 different foundation colors. Going into fall or winter, so right now we're in Southern California, so it's fall, but it's 80 degrees. So we're still kind of in our summer colors. But definitely going into fall or winter, you may want to lighten up your foundation color. So using those 2 colors will definitely help you to transition your seasons. So using the 2 colors, we created dimension. Then we went ahead and contoured with a little bit of powder. I used a contour palette so that we had 2 different colors. We brightened under the eyes with an amazing concealer, peachy undertone, really to brighten. Again, sheer layers with your foundation, sheer layers with your concealer, just to really make sure everything stays and looks beautiful, giving a skin-like finish. And then we went ahead and finished with a tiny bit of blush on the apples, as well as highlighter on the tops of the cheekbones. So as you can see, this is just a beautiful everyday skin look that all of you can achieve. Thanks again for watching my video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment below what you want to see next. All of the products used in my video are also linked below. And if you want to see more, follow me anywhere at Powell Glam. Thanks again.